Thank you, Minister. And Commissioner Hogan, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Minister Leppa, for those very kind words. And you have comprehensively covered the issue on this long agenda, of which you chair today. I'm glad to be joined by my colleague and friend Vitenis Andrikaitis, who will cover other issues that were covered later in the day. I want to confine myself to some reflections on some of the key topics that I covered, and to do so as briefly as I can. We discussed the forest strategy, as Minister Leppa said, and a joint declaration presented by the Visegrad Group. We all know the value of our forests and the contribution that they make to our international commitments on sustainable development and climate. And the priorities of the new Commission, the European Green Deal, will give an opportunity for our forest strategy to even make a bigger contribution towards meeting objectives on climate neutrality and biodiversity, on our zero pollution, the circular economy, to name but a few. So it is a very timely discussion. Our vision in the Commission is that the EU forest strategy could not only secure consistency of our EU policies, but it could also be a tool that we can use at EU level to work jointly with in maximising the contribution of forests to the delivery of all of the service that we need to provide to address the sustainability challenges of the future. So then we moved on to the state of play on the CAP proposals, and the Commission's broadly shares the progress report that was presented today by the Presidency. And of course it will be now a matter for my successor to drive things forward, and we wish Mr. Wojciechowski, the Commissioner Designate on Agriculture, every success in this role and in completing the work of the CAP reform. And I did recall a few points that were very important in my view in the Council today. One was the need to simplify the policy in the interest of the farmer, the need to ensure that we have a higher level of ambition in relation to environment and climate. Every sector has to play its role in meeting these objectives. And we should at all times ensure that the farmer is at the centre of providing the solutions to many of our issues in relation to food security, but also our public goods. All agricultural ministers reiterated their position today that they want to see the money in the budget before they sign off on the policy, so I respect that position. The agricultural markets point is a very important issue and a very important point. We last reviewed our markets point last April, so today's assessment shows that for many sectors in the market we are generally stable position. But there are a couple that we today that we mentioned in particular where we need to do more work and we need to support. And number one was the olive oil sector in Spain, and indeed in some Mediterranean countries is an ongoing issue in relation to a high level of stocks, a high level of harvest and low prices. So we did announce that we were going to open a private storage aid scheme to take some product off the market to see could it help the sector to recover. The beef sector, of course, is under constant pressure, and also the sugar sector. So we will have to look at all these issues, of course, in the context of the additional tariffs that have been imposed by the United States in the context of the Airbus-Boeing case, and we will know the final situation regarding the schedule of tariffs later this week, and we'll see what impact it is, and we need to get more information from our exporters and from our member states in relation to what action we would take in the future. But hopefully we can negotiate a solution with the United States, and this is the preferred option and the preferred outcome of the Council of Agricultural Ministers today. Following a number of points that have been mentioned by Minister Leppa, we concluded today's discussion when dealing with the WTO decision in the Airbus case, but also we looked at the bioeconomy and we looked at issues in relation to the management of the wolf population, and we certainly take note of the fact that there was a European Court of Justice judgment in the last few days as well, which we now have to analyse and take that into account in whatever guidelines that we will issue to Member States in relation to this matter. And finally, I took the opportunity to say, in markets generally, which I forgot to say earlier, is that it is very important to exploit the potential of the EU promotion budget. We have €200 million in 2020. So this is an opportunity for Member States now to look at the programme for 2020, which they will be doing so in the next few weeks, to see how we can mitigate the difficulties arising from the United States tariff schedule, but also where we have market difficulties anyway, in order to ensure that we get third country markets, particularly in Asia, where we see enormous potential to meet the protein requirements of our agricultural producers in the European Union, and to be also able to exploit the potential through our GI products in terms of the high quality products that we can supply to our very discerning consumers around the world. Thank you.